All right. So welcome to MKTG 617, Internet Business and Electronic Marketing. And this session will be a bit different from the previous sessions we have had in the sense that it is the first part of a two-part session in which we will be covering the e-marketing mix. So we will do the first part today, cover certain aspects of the e-marketing mix, and then come back in our next session to finish it up. Now, as usual, like in all our other sessions, there are two main learning outcomes that we hope to achieve. The first one is to be able to understand how the elements of the marketing mix apply in an online context. And the second one is to be able to evaluate the opportunities that the internet presents for varying the marketing mix. So without further ado, let's get into it. So before we can be able to discuss the e-marketing mix, we need to first brush up on some basics, which have to do with the marketing mix. Now, when we talk about the marketing mix, we are talking basically about the variables that marketers traditionally combine, or the tools that marketers traditionally combine and put together creatively in the form of marketing strategy that they use to achieve the general marketing objectives, which include satisfying customer needs in a profitable manner. Now, traditionally, there have been four main P's that have been touted from the beginning, and these were propounded by McCarthy in 1964. And they are basically the product, price, place, and promotion. Now, these four P's, once they were developed and applied in marketing, were very popular in terms of that era of marketing, which involved mainly the sale of physical goods. So around that time that the four P's were developed, marketers were mainly engaging in the exchange of physical goods rather than the exchange of services. However, when services became more popular, it emerged very quickly that the four P's were not enough to be able to come up with strategies that were adequate enough to be able to sell services, given that services have different characteristics from physical goods or products. So an additional set of P's were developed to add on to the P's that we already had to be able to accommodate the unique features of services that went somewhat beyond the features of traditional products or goods that we know of. So three additional P's were added to the traditional four P's that we know, which are people, processes, and physical evidence, to sum up a total of 7 P's, which in total will be product, price, place, promotion, people, processes, and physical evidence. So in the marketing of physical goods, the 4 P's are generally applied. However, in the marketing of services, the 7 P's, which include the 4 P's and 3 additional P's, as propounded by Booms and Bittner 1981, are those that are applied to the marketing of services. And therefore, these sets of 7 P's are also referred to as the services mix. So now that we appreciate the marketing mix from a traditional standpoint, let's break down each of these elements of the marketing mix and look at how they would play out in an online context, or how internet technology can be used to facilitate the utilization of these various tools as part of marketing strategy in the online context, starting from the product element. So when we talk about product is any good or service that is offered to a customer to satisfy a particular need that they may have. Now, when it comes to making product decisions, we as marketers are cognizant of the fact that customer needs are varied and they are dynamic. Therefore, there is no way we as marketers can be able to adequately appreciate what the customer's needs specifically are, or what they are looking for in a particular product or service to satisfy whatever peculiar need it is that they may have. So we as marketers, when making product decisions, need to come from an informed standpoint. And the only way we can gain the information that is necessary to make these product decisions in an efficient and effective manner is by conducting what we refer to as market research. So through market research, using the 3 sources of data that we have discussed, being the secondary sources, the primary sources, and the internal sources of data, we will be able to assess customer needs, to be able to determine what they are looking for in a given product or service, to satisfy a need that they might have based on the context within which we are operating as a firm. Another way in which we can make product decisions is also in the area of modification of existing products. Given that product decisions are not just made when we are trying to design a brand new product to satisfy a need. However, from time to time as marketers, we also tend to upgrade and redesign the products that we already have existing on the market to come up to the current needs of the customers, given that customer needs are dynamic and they evolve over time. So feedback from customers is another means by which we can get information to also modify existing products to satisfy customer needs, such that if the product that we have currently is good enough to be able to be modified slightly or to some extent to satisfy the existing need, we will be able to do so based on the feedback that we get or the original information we gather through market research using the 3 sources of data that we have at our disposal. Or based on the feedback that we get, if we realize that it is impossible to modify an existing product, we can go ahead and develop a totally new product using this feedback that we have to be able to satisfy customer needs. Please, I hope that makes sense.
Yes, Doc.
Good. So in making these product decisions, based on the feedback that we get and the information we gather through our marketing research, as electronic marketers, there are various ways in which we can modify the product. Now, to be able to know how to go about modifying the product, particularly for the online context, we need to be able to appreciate the different levels of a product that exists. Now, the product that we see as the whole item or the whole offering that is offered to the customer that they purchase with their money or exchange for value, we can be able to break it down into different levels. And at each level, there are certain strategies and techniques that we as marketers can use to be able to enhance the product in its entirety. And the same concept as applied in the traditional concept can be extended to the online context, where we can use online technology to enhance various levels of the product. So let's go into discussing the various levels of the product, which will guide our understanding of how we can make e-marketing decisions to help us enhance our product for the online context. Starting from the basic level of the product, which is the core product. Now, the core product is basically that aspect of the product that fulfills the needs of the customer or fulfills the basic benefits that the customer is looking for when they are buying the product. So here we say that the core product helps the customer to answer the question, what is the buyer really buying? Or as a customer, you ask yourself the question, what am I really buying? So let's take this scenario. If I buy a bottle of Belaqua, what am I really buying? What is the core product that I'm buying if I buy a bottle of Belaqua water?
Water.
Water to quench my thirst. So that is the core product. However, that core product that I'm buying cannot be just put into my hand, right? Cannot just be poured into the cup, my cupped hands, or be given to me as is. It has to come to me in a certain packaged form. True or false?
True.
Good. So it is this packaged form that we refer to as the actual product. And that is what we refer to as the physical manifestation of the core product, or the core product in a packaged form, which is expressed in various elements, including the brand name, the packaging, the design, among others, right? So still on the Belaqua example, when we talk about the actual product of Belaqua, what are some elements of Belaqua that we can say constitutes the actual product?
Water,
The water itself, the bottle.
Water itself, which is the core product, good. The bottle, the PET bottle it comes in, good. What else?
It
has a pH of 0.6 or so, 0.7.
Good. So the formulation of the product itself, right? Because not all water is water. So good, Samuel. Anything else?
The label on the
The labeling, good, which gives us a lot of information. It tells us whether it's FDA approved. It tells us that it's made in Ghana. It tells us the individual constituents of the water, what minerals are in there. It tells us the product's name and also shows us the labeling and the colors and all that. So good, that's another good one, Theo. So these together constitute what we refer to as the actual product, because that is how the core product is packaged and brought to us, right? Now, beyond the actual product, we can also talk about the augmented product. And these are additional services and benefits beyond the core product and how it's presented to us that set it apart from competitors. And here we can talk about things like warranties, after-sales service, free delivery, among others that can be offered as part of the package, which includes the core product and the actual product. So for instance, in the augmented product, when you buy Belaqua, I remember Belaqua were the ones who started that concept of packaging bottles of water in a plastic pack. And you paid for a pack of 6, but you got 2 extra, which makes it a pack of 8. So that was some form of additional value you got as a result of buying Belaqua in that plastic pack. Please, do we all appreciate what I'm saying? I'm sure a number of us have bought that water before.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, but I was confused. Was it Belaqua or Vena that started it? Because I think it's Belaqua. But at some point too, I'm thinking it's because Vena also started doing that. Am I right?
Yes, but I think Belaqua started first.
Yeah, and then Vena joined the train. Good, yeah, right. So that is a typical example of augmented product. And I know for a fact that for Belaqua, depending on the, and other water manufacturers, depending on the quantity that you are buying, they can deliver straight to you at your destination. So these are all examples of the augmented products that can be offered as part of the core and actual product. So knowing what we know, let's look at how internet or digital technology can be used to enhance these various levels of the product. So basically, this is a diagrammatic representation of what we have just discussed. Yes, Samuel, please, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, whether this one is an augmented product or not.
Okay.
Awake started this project of, if you buy a bottle of Awake, a certain amount is donated to the Heart Foundation.
Yes.
And then Vena also started. So
yes,
you call that an augmented product?
What we call that is cause-related marketing, in the sense that it is not directly satisfying a need that the customer has. Okay. Right? But it is contributing towards enhancing the image and the brand equity of the manufacturer or the owner of that particular brand. So what the concept you're talking about is what we refer to as cause-related marketing, which translates into some form of corporate social responsibility. Someone, are you with me?
Yes, please.
So that activity does not necessarily form part of the augmented product or the actual product. However, it contributes towards another aspect of marketing, which helps to enhance brand equity and brand image.
Okay.
Good. All right. So, like I was saying, this is a diagrammatic representation of the 3 levels we have talked about. Like we said, the core product is at the core of the product that the customer is purchasing and is the direct benefit they are getting from buying the item. And then the actual product is the form in which the core product is packaged and presented to the customer. And the augmented products are the additional things that are offered to the core and actual product that the customer is purchasing, right? So let's look into how we can vary the product element online, or how we can use digital or online technology to vary the product element. And we can do so in 5 main ways. including options for varying the core product, options for offering digital products, options for changing the extended product, which includes the actual and augmented product, as well as conducting research online and the speed of new product development and diffusion. So let's go into these one after the other, starting from options for varying the core product. Now, options of varying the core product start from the point where we realize that certain products that were primarily being offered as physical products offline can now be offered in digital form. So we can see that there are new digital products that are emerging, which are direct manifestations of certain physical products that we once enjoyed offline. So we can talk about things like music, that hitherto, if you wanted to consume, you had to buy in the form of a CD, which you had to play using an MP3 player, right? Or buy a cassette and have to play it in a sound system. But now, because of digital and online technologies, you can stream music directly online on any device of your choice. We can also talk about books. Hitherto, to read a book, you had to buy it physically and flip through pages. Today, there are people who still cannot read a book without holding it physically and flipping through the pages. However, there are new digital products that offer books to us in various digital forms that we can download and carry around with us and have access to on multiple devices that we do not have to carry around in bulky books that are heavy and difficult to move from one place to the other. We can also talk about films. Films are now being offered digitally. Hitherto, if you wanted to watch a film, you either had to buy the CD or the Pierre Moncourt video cassette that you had to put into the VHS player and watch, or buy a CD and get a CD player to be able to watch. However, now with digital and online technologies, you can stream movies directly online using various devices. So you can stream movies on your phone, you can stream movies on your tablet, you can download them and carry them around on your devices, or stream them in real time on various platforms online. The same applies to magazines and software. Hitherto, to read a magazine, you had to buy it physically and flip through the pages. Hitherto, software used to come in the form of a CD with a huge book attached to it, being a manual on how to install and use it. But now software can be downloaded directly from online platforms in real time and installed online, such that even if you need directions on how to install the software, you could go online and get videos that will talk you through step by step how to go about downloading and installing the software. So these are all new digital products that digital technologies and internet technology have made possible for us marketers to sell online, right? We can also talk about adding digital value to customers. For instance, offering additional information or transaction services. Like I mentioned in the example of the software. Hitherto, when you buy the software, it comes with a huge book and a CD that tells you how to install the software on your device and how to use it. However, with the addition of digital value by providing additional information, when you download the software now online in the form of a digital product, you can directly access tech people who are employed to be online to assist you through live chats and emails back and forth to guide you in real time on how to install the software and how to be able to use the applications to achieve whatever objectives for which you are obtaining the software. At the same time, too, there are various transactional services that are available offline that we did not have access to, that are available online, sorry, that we did not have access to offline. For instance, hitherto online, hitherto offline, you had to buy items in cash. It is only recently that we have come to become somewhat accustomed to paying for items physically in store using alternative electronic means like the POS devices and the mobile money, right? All of which are now available online. And in addition to the payment options that are available online, there are other transaction services that, for instance, we can benefit from, which we did not have access to offline. For instance, if you ordered for an item via phone from a particular manufacturer or a particular seller, you could only hope and pray to God that the item got to you from the destination in time and in good condition. Any information you had access to were as a result of the conversations you had with the manufacturer or the seller. However, with online transactions, digital value is added through your ability to be able to track your orders from the manufacturer right until it gets to you in your particular location. At the same time, too, you can be able to get access to frequently asked questions or get access to direct help or live chats that can be able to give you real-time information regarding the items that you have procured and whether or when they are going to get to you at your particular location. Still on the concept of varying product, we can talk about mass customization, which I believe we have demonstrated in this class. Please, have we demonstrated the customization of the Nike by You sneakers?
Well, that day wasn't really working, so you asked us to check it out.
Okay, please, did you get the chance?
Yes, please, I did.
Okay. So is it fair to say that everyone had the opportunity to try it out? Hello, Alfred.
I didn't complete.
You didn't complete it?
Yeah, so we didn't complete it.
Yes.
Okay, let's quickly look at it and then we can come back to what we were discussing. Please, can we see the screen?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Okay, so this is an aspect of varying the marketing mix online, which we will discuss subsequently, but I want us to be able to remember this that popped up once we open the site, right? And this is a typical example of how promotion can be enhanced online. Please, can you see that as soon as we open their page, they are asking us for our email addresses, our date of birth, and our shopping preferences, whether we are male or female. Please, do you see that? Good. Now, this is one of the ways by which marketers are able to customize promotions and make sure that they are able to target the right customer base with the right product information and service information to ensure that they will make purchases, right? So let's quickly go into the site itself and try our hands on the customization. So under customize, you will see Nike by You, right? So let's click Nike by You. And here it is asking whether we should go for men or women. So which one do we do, men or women?
Women. Women.
Okay, so we're doing women. We're trying to customize a female sneaker. Now you realize that the amounts are being presented to us in the currency of the location that we choose. So it's RPP, I believe it's Indonesia's currency, right? So here we can see all the sneaker options that are available for us to customize. Please, can we see that? So which one do we customize? Do we do the Air Max 95 or the Air Force One Low CRV or the Air Max Premium by You? Which one do we do? I think the Just In looks cool. The Air Max 95. Oh, yeah. So let's do that one.
Yes, Doc.
Good.
Yeah, we can try that.
Good. Now, when we click on it, you can see that it shows us the sneaker from different angles, right? And gives us various color options from which we can choose and start from. So the first option I've clicked on now is basically more of a blue and white color combination. And I think that's more of a blank canvas that we can start from. And then again, it asks us to select the gender, which we have already indicated we are going with women. And it asks us to select the shoe size. So a woman's shoe size in sneakers would be average 9.5, 10, right? So let's do a 9.5. And then we'll go into customize.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we can see that they give us various options to customize different aspects of the sneaker, from the panels of the sneaker. So whenever you hover over an option, it highlights that option in the sneaker to show you which part of the sneaker that customization tool affects. right? Then we can customize the tongue or the toe, the tongue overlay or the toe or the back tab of the sneaker. We can also do the upper part of the sneaker, the tongue logo. You can actually change the logo that is typed on the sneaker from Air Max to whatever you might like. So let's try that quickly. So now here we are saying we want to change the color of the logo. Please, do we see that? So we can change this to off black, wheat, or midnight navy. Depending on the sneaker you choose, like I mentioned earlier, you can actually change the writing on it, right? So currently it's off noir, right? But we can change it to wheat, or we can change it to midnight navy. Please, do you see that? I think the midnight navy works better with the color scheme that it even has. Yeah. So once you customize, you click the check sign and then it sticks, right? Then you go ahead and customize something else, right? So you can even customize the accent stitching, and it's not available for this particular sneaker. So we have to move on. Then you can go ahead and customize other aspects like the laces, right? You can change the color of the laces to any color you want. Do you want it to be cyber, medium olive, steam, blustery, university red? Please, do you see that?
Yes, please.
I like the university red, so I think I'll leave it at that. Then you can change the outsole as well, right? Which is the bottom of the shoe, to steam green, medium olive, midnight navy. I think midnight navy works. Then you click check and it goes. Then you can also change the airbag, right? Which is what is down here. Currently it's sapphire. You can make it photon dust or make it university red to match the laces that you have. I think the university red looks nice. And then you can also change the swoosh, right? You can change the color of the swoosh to any other color you want. Gray, midnight navy, blustery, red, right? You can also change the upper. You can change the midsole, right? Currently the midsole is white. We can make it gray. We can make it off noir, right? So I think by this point, we get the concept of customization. And by the time you are done, definitely based on your preferences and what you like and what you dislike, you will end up with a sneaker that no one else in the world will possess, right? And that is the essence of mass customization. And this is only possible as a result of digital, particularly internet technology. Because without this technology, it is impossible to give millions of people in different parts of the world the opportunity to customize a sneaker that is unique to them, that they can be able to determine to a T what it looks like and what colors to put on different portions of the sneaker. And once it's complete, it is delivered specifically to you. It's not mass produced for anyone else. Please, I hope that makes sense.
Yes, Doc.
And hitherto, this was not possible in the offline context, but it's only possible as a result of online technology. Next, we can talk about bundling. And here we can see how online technology enables retailers to bundle. Okay, before we proceed, Samuel, your hand is up, or is the old one?
I think it's the old one, but,
okay.
But once you, as I wanted to, I would like to chip in something. I wanted to ask on the associated, the augmented cost, if it's allowed.
You mean augmented product?
Yes, and then the associated cost one, where the company allows for maybe a funeral, or you're having a wedding, and then they customize your label on the product.
Yes.
Where does that one fit? Is it an augmented product or associated cost?
You are mixing pricing elements with product elements. Samuel, yes, you are mixing pricing elements with product elements. When we get to pricing elements, you realize that because of the ability to vary the product online, we are also able to vary the pricing such that the same product can be sold at different price levels to different buyers, depending on the level of customization that is done or the level of additional features that are included. Does it make sense, Samuel?
Thank you.
You're welcome, Samuel. Okay, so moving on from mass customization, we can talk about bundling. And bundling here combines several product or service options into one package of services and is often offered at a discounted price, all to encourage the customer to purchase a particular set of items in addition to the items that they originally wanted to buy. So here it is presented to the customer as a cost-saving alternative or an opportunity to get additional items that they would need and otherwise have to pay full price for or purchase at different occasions for a certain reduced price in addition to other items that they already need all at the same time. So we can see that when it comes to bundling, firms in different sectors offer various product bundles to their customers. Some of these product bundles are sometimes only accessible through the online context. So let's look at the telcos in Ghana as a typical example. We realize that they offer various product bundles using the different services that they offer, depending on the type of customer and which type of services are more relevant to them. So we have product bundles that sometimes consider people who are heavy users of data as against heavy users of airtime or vice versa. And they also sometimes put these bundles together based on the timings with which customers use these options, either data or airtime, heavily. So we realize that there are different bundles to suit these different needs that customers may have, and they are offered to different types of customers at different price points. So Vodafone is a typical example. We can talk about Vodafone having various bundles that customers can buy, some of which include only data, some of which combine data and airtime, and some of which are only accessible at certain times of the day. Please, does that make sense?
Yes, Doc.
Good.
Yes, Doc.
So we can talk about products like the Vodafone Bolsu package, Vodafone Red, all of which are targeted to different customer segments and offer different benefits to the customers that purchase them. Let's look at another typical example from an online seller. Now, this example we are going to see is from Amazon.com. Now, currently, I'm on a page where I'm trying to purchase some male skincare items. Can you please see the screen?
Yes, please.
Good. So here we are looking at the Teague Hanley men's skincare system, right? And it is a complete system that includes a wash, a scrub, and then an AM and PM cream, right? Now you can see from here that they offer different price points depending on the sizing of the items that you want to buy. So they have the $39.99 price point version. Then they have the $49.99 price point version. Then they have the $59.99 price point version, which we will get into more detail at the pricing section. But all these are different product formulations. So you realize that the $39.99 has only 4 items. Please, can we see that?
Yes, Doc.
Good. Then the $49.99 has 5 items. Then the $59.99 has 6 items. Now, even more closely related to the bundling concept, when we scroll to the bottom of the screen, we can see that they have given us a certain product bundle. Please, can we see it?
Yes, Doc.
Good. And they're telling us that we can bundle this current item that we see on our screen with a face mask for men and then a mud mask, right? So you can add the black face mask and the Dead Sea mud mask for a total price of $88.33. Now, when we look at these products individually, we can see that when we add them together, the cost price will be higher than the $88.33 at which it is being offered to us in the bundle. So I'm going to open the individual pages for these individual items, and then we will add it up, and then you will see what I'm talking about. So currently this item we have here is $59.99. Let's say it's $60. And the black mask for the men is what? $13.39. Please, is someone doing the addition for us? Is someone doing the addition?
Yes, Doc.
Okay, so we have $59.99 and we have $13.39. And then we have the other item being the Dead Sea Mud Mask, which is currently going for $14.95. Right? So, and these are the discounted prices. Please, can you see that? So when you add the discounted prices, you get an $88.33. But if you are combining them at the full prices, you will realize that if you were buying them at their full price, you would exceed the $88.33 that they are offering it for. Good, because the full price for this one is $20.95, right? Good, and then this one is $13.39, which is the current price, the actual price at the moment. And then the $59.99 that we have here is also the actual price. So if we are buying for the original price, it will take the price up slightly, right? However, you can buy all the three at the same time for a discounted amount of $88.33, right? So these are this is a typical example of the product bundling that we are talking about, where we are saying that companies or who are marketing different products online will sometimes put different items together and offer them at a discounted price. And sometimes you realize that people will generally not buy some of these items on their own. But when they come together as a bundle with other items that they need, they would go ahead and buy it together because of the savings that they perceive that they will be making, right? So that is for bundling. Next, we can talk about options for offering digital products. And here we realize that a number of the products that are being offered online now as digital products are being offered on subscription basis. So you realize that a number of products, including the music that we stream on iTunes, is being offered on subscription basis. The Spotify that we stream is being offered on subscription basis. And these subscriptions can be obtained for various periods of time. You can obtain a 1-day subscription. You can obtain a 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 1 year, depending on what you believe you can be able to afford at any point in time, right? So depending on what the period that you want to subscribe for, the price points that you will have to pay will differ. So we have subscription services for music. We have subscription services for movies. We even have subscription services for education online now on platforms like Udemy and Coursera, where you have to be able to subscribe to gain access to certain content. Please, does that make sense?
Yes, Doc.
Yes, Doc.
Good. Even currently, YouTube, that used to be a free platform, is now offering a subscription version, right? So these are all examples of digital products that can be offered using the online medium. Next, we can talk about pay-per-view. And here, this pay-per-view is basically a fee for a single download or viewing session of a particular digital product where the particular customer does not want to pay for an extended period to have access to that particular content. So you realize that usually when it comes to movies, you can either subscribe to have access to the platform to watch an unlimited number of movies or a certain number of movies over a period of time, or you can pay per a particular movie, just watch that one movie and be done with it. That is what we refer to as pay-per-view. And generally, because they want to discourage pay-per-view, which does not yield as high returns as subscriptions do, they will always put the pay-per-view at a relatively higher price than the other subscription basis, given that they stand to gain more from people signing up for longer term subscriptions than pay-per-view. Please, does that make sense?
Yes, Doc.
Good. Also, we can talk about ad-supported content, which is one of the main means by which a lot of the independent platforms make their income. So here, there is no direct price sets for customers who patronize these platforms and websites. However, the e-marketers who facilitate these platforms have to gain some revenue somehow. So they do so mainly through selling adverts on the platform, like we experienced with regard to the review sites and the price comparison sites, which are supposed to be neutral and provide customers with neutral, unbiased, independent perspectives for various products and services and the price points at which they can be purchased, right? So these platforms like the review sites and YouTube, which until recently had a subscription-based version, were largely making their money through adverts. So they will usually take up adverts that will be pasted directly on the sites for platforms like review sites and price comparison sites. And then for platforms like YouTube, the adverts will usually be placed in between the videos that customers watch. So at certain points in time, during the time that they are streaming the content, they are shown certain videos or certain adverts from various firms that have paid to have these videos shown. And this is how these platforms are able to earn some form of revenue by means of ad-supported content.
Okay.
Next, with regard to options for changing the augmented product, we can talk about things like endorsements. And here, endorsements are mainly contributing to the aspect of the augmented product that have to do with information provision. Likewise, testimonies. Likewise, customer feedback. These are all means by which individual influencers that are either paid for by the marketer or independent of the marketer's influence, as well as customers and other online users who have patronized the services or the product that the marketer is selling, will provide independent feedback or sponsored feedback regarding the product and services that the e-marketer is trying to sell online. Now, endorsements can either be paid for or voluntary, such that they are more credible when they are voluntary and are not influenced in any way, manner, or form by the e-marketer. However, in instances where the e-marketer is influencing it in some way by providing some form of sponsorship or payment, it helps that the e-marketer makes whatever influencer they are working with disclose this fact so that customers will be able to see the authenticity and the reasoning behind the expressions that are being made by this particular influencer and the perspectives that they are coming from, right? And generally, testimonies are given with regard to positive outcomes as a result of users or particular customers' experiences with the product or service. However, customer feedback can go both ways. It could either be positive or negative, depending on how the customer feels about the product and what they believe the e-marketer can do to be able to enhance their experience in consuming that particular product or service. So with information that is provided through endorsements, testimonies, and customer feedback, customers are able to not only gain information regarding whether or not these products or services would be a good fit for them, it also provides them with information on how to best utilize these products and services, and also gives us as e-marketers information regarding how we can go about improving upon the products and services that we offer to create better experiences for the customers that we serve. Other options for changing the augmented products include providing warranties and guarantees. We realize that a lot of online marketers now offer certain warranties and guarantees online that they do not offer in the offline context, especially when it comes to the purchase of certain sensitive products and services whose purchase processes are impaired by means of the fact that they are being sold online. So when we talk about someone buying electronics online, like a television set, right, or a laptop, and they're having to have it delivered to them physically after buying it online, customers of these platforms often get higher warranties and guarantees because they are taking a higher risk of not having tested these electronic items out before receiving them. So the warranty that someone who would walk into the shop and buy the laptop or the television will get may be less than the person who is buying online, because obviously the person who bought it physically had the opportunity to have it tested, unlike the person who is buying it online. Paul, please, your hand is up.
Ma'am, please, about the endorsements.
Yes, please.
If you could go over the endorsement bit.
Okay, so what I was saying was that endorsements are usually seals of approval, right, that are given to specific brands of products and services online. Now, these endorsements can either be voluntary or paid for. And they are often done by influencers or experts or people whose opinions are respected with regard to their network.
Yeah.
So we can have experts in a particular area. For instance, if we want to introduce a new food item onto the market, it will help us to get one of the best chefs that are respected in the world. Perhaps if we get a Gordon Ramsay to come and endorse our new food item, it will make sense because he's an expert in that area, which has to do with food. So if he endorses our item, it means that he has given it a stamp of approval. You can see the same thing happening locally, like the way we have celebrities like Nana Mama Brown and co endorsing various brands of products and services because their opinions are respected. And in endorsing these brands of products and services, they are offering information to their network and people who follow them about how good these products are and what benefits they can get from utilizing these products and services. Some of these endorsements are free. Others are also paid for. However, when they are paid for, we as marketers have a duty for ethical reasons to disclose this information so that the customers can be able to know how to deal with the information they are getting from these endorsers and how to be able to take it based on where it's coming from. I think Paul has gone offline, but I hope his question has been answered. Gloria, your hand is up. Please go ahead.
Yes, madam. Good morning.
Gloria, your line is
Please,
very
you
shaky.
warranty and then guarantee. Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Hello. Please, you can hear me now.
Yes, I can.
Okay. I said I didn't start early with you, but then they're talking about the warranties and the guarantees. You were
Yes.
saying that online buyers, we have high warranty and guarantees than the ones that we are going to the shop for physical purchase.
Add the caveat.
In my view, I
add
want
the caveat. I said depending on the product or service that you are purchasing.
Bang. Okay.
Good.
But for the electronic ones, when the person brings it, I can actually test it and see if it is not working. They can still send it back. Or
yes. Yes. But the guarantee here is that because you are doing it online, you do not have the luxury of time. So imagine, for instance, right? They give the same warranty to you as they give to someone who buys it in store, and the warranty is 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks to either exchange or get a refund. Are you with me, Gloria?
Yes,
I'm sorry, my line dropped. So
yes, Paul.
Yes, please, I am with you.
Okay. Sorry, Gloria, a moment. Paul, please, I hope your question was answered.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Thank you.
When you just started, my line dropped.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
All right, hold on. I'll come back to answer your question, but let me respond to Gloria. So, Gloria, like I was saying, imagine they give you the same warranty, you the person buying online. They give you the same warranty they give to someone buying offline. Like the warranty is 2 weeks, right? For you to either exchange or get your money back. And then the product itself takes about 1 week to be delivered to you. Are you with me? Then when the product gets delivered to you, for whatever reason, you do not get around to testing it or whatever until about a few days after. And then by the time you test it out and you want to send it back, it will take you another about 1 week for the item to get back.
Exactly.
Because you can't physically go there. Will it be fair to you?
Yeah.
Good.
No.
Good. That is why in the instance of online buyers, they are usually given some form of preferential treatment in the form of, for instance, extended warranties. Because they are taking into consideration all these challenges you might have. Getting the item delivered to you, getting the chance to test it out, and then if there's a problem, sending it back. So they give you ample time to go through all these processes, considering that it will also take some time for the item to get to you. But the person who goes there physically can just test the item there, or if they test it there and it's okay and they even bring it home and there's a problem, they can easily always carry it and drive to the place and send it back.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
So that explains why sometimes the preferential treatment of is given to the online buyers as against the physical buyers. Does that make sense now?
Yes. Yes.
Good.
I had a similar experience, so I wanted a more
please share.
detailed.
Okay. Please share.
I bought a blender,
Okay.
and in fact, I didn't check.
Oh.
So when they brought it, it was nice. So I started to keep it.
Okay.
So later on in the evening, I said, oh, then let me use it for pineapple juice.
Okay.
Every day I used it, just plugged in and I started. Smoke started from the blender,
Motor,
the main, yes. So I got scared. From that time, in fact, it has really pushed me off from buying online.
Yeah.
And so I called them again that this is the situation.
Yeah.
And they told me I should bring it to their warehouse. I said, wow. And I couldn't even locate the place, like you were saying, about 3 days or 2 days.
Yeah.
Before I was able to locate their warehouse, and they told me, will I change it? I told them, no, now I'm not even interested in it again. So they refunded it to me.
Good.
And I think what he said is exactly the same.
Awesome. Awesome. So I'm glad we have had a real life experience that practicalizes the explanation. Thank you for sharing, Gloria. So Paul, like I was saying, the endorsements, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And what I was
Yes,
saying
ma'am.
was that the endorsements are typically either paid for or done free of charge. Now, these endorsements are usually done by experts in the area of whatever product or service it is that you are selling, or celebrities and individuals whose opinions are respected by their network.
Okay.
So you realize that endorsements are often done by either influencers or celebrities or experts in that area.
Yes.
So in the event that it is a voluntary endorsement, they would usually pick on a particular product or service that they have used and experienced that they have liked. And they will recommend it to their followers, telling their followers how the product or service works, how they can access it, and what it can do for them. However, in the event that it is not voluntary and it is being paid for by the marketer, as ethical marketers, we have to disclose it to our customers so that they can be able to know how to treat the information that they are getting from that particular endorsement, right? However, it is not wrong for us to pay for endorsements. Usually, some of these endorsements are not paid for in cash. Sometimes they are paid for in kind by sponsoring a particular video or review, by just giving the product free of charge to whoever it is that is going to do the endorsement, be it the influencer or the expert or the celebrity. So they can try the product out and then independently give a review of it.
Okay.
Good. That's
Ma'am,
that
may I
answer.
ask a question?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, so this endorsement, is there any risk? Is there any risk that these endorsers are exposed to?
Okay, by using endorsers, marketers run huge amounts of risk, especially when it comes to endorsers who are prone to certain issues, right? Or have certain challenges in terms of image. Once you use an endorser, they become an extension of your brand because they are representing your brand.
Yeah.
So anything that negatively impacts their image will have a negative effect on your brand, and vice versa.
Yes.
When they have a positive
vice
image
versa.
and a positive influence, it positively influences your brand. So that is the number one risk that we run as marketers when we work with these endorsers. Because the moment something goes wrong with their persona and their opinions are no longer respected, it affects how customers perceive our brand because we are directly linked with them. So you realize that whenever there's a challenge with any of these influencers or celebrities, brands that were previously associated with them feel the need to come out to make a statement to say, we are no longer associated with this person. We do not endorse what they do, and we set ourselves apart from them. And some of them will go as far as pulling down any adverts that they even have that are portraying these individuals as connected in any way or form to their brand.
Yes.
Good.
And then also on the other hand, on the other
Yeah.
side of it,
Yeah.
if the brand itself also finds itself not doing something right,
Yeah.
as I think on the other hand, it also goes to affect the endorsers.
Yes, but the consequences
For
are more dire
example,
when it's reverse.
okay.
It is more
Okay.
easier for an endorser to dissociate themselves from a brand than for a brand to dissociate themselves from an endorser.
Okay.
Because usually the endorsers don't invest anything in the relationship.
But madam, let me cite the issue of this financial company that set up, and what's the name? They were found out not to be regulated.
Is it Men's
The
Gold?
name is missing. Yes, please. I think you saw a lot of celebrities endorsing their brand.
Yeah, but you realize that the celebrities found it very easy to move on.
Okay.
Can you mention any one celebrity that was associated with the brand that was really negatively impacted as a result of what happened?
Oh, I think I saw a few of them. I had them being bashed on the airwaves.
Good, but that was all, right? Did they lose any money?
One. Well,
exactly, and it blew over in a very short time. But if it had been the other way around, the company would have started to lose money.
Okay, that's true.
Good.
Okay, so madam, can we cite the Tiger Woods example?
Very good. Yes. Please go ahead. The brand started dropping him like flies, eh?
Okay. Yeah, the Tiger Woods. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a typical example, right?
Okay.
So
I was saying that because of the challenges he started.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, typical example of the celebrity endorsement.
Yes, it's a typical example, right? And all because what? Because he did what? Because he cheated on. They say he cheated on his wife, isn't it?
A serial cheater.
He was a serial cheater, right? And technically, this is supposed to be something personal, right? But it led to people starting to boycott the brands that he represented, and they started losing money. Whereas if it had been the other way around and a brand was misbehaving, he would have already received his endorsement money. He would have just said, okay, I'm not associated with this brand anymore. He would have just moved on. But because the shoe was on the other foot, the brand started losing money. So they were forced to drop him. So thank you, Samuel, for adding that example for us. Okay, so finally here, with regard to options for changing the augmented product, we can talk about incorporating tools to help users during their selection and use of the product. And here we've seen so many examples of how this plays out, including demonstrations we have done on the ASOS platform, where we saw they were offering everything from help to frequently asked questions to order tracking, delivery options. Some platforms will also offer live chats that can help you to be able to get your questions answered in real time. We also saw how they were using a number of means to be able to get feedback from customers and be able to ensure that at any point in time, the customer is receiving the assistance and the help that they need to be able to move smoothly through the various aspects of the customer path, right, towards achieving the experience that the e-marketer has planned for them. So moving on from options for changing the augmented product, we can also talk about options for conducting research online. And here, as a result of online technology, there are so many new ways by which we as marketers can conduct research online in a more cost-effective manner, right? For instance, we can do online focus group discussions, which hitherto were very cost-intensive research technique, in that you had to be able to rent or obtain a location that could be secluded, that had two-way access. So you should be able to put your respondents in one room, and might I add, when you are conducting research and you want to get respondents in one place to answer questions for an extended period of time, you need to be able to make it worth their while, which comes with some level of significant financial commitment, because you have to be able to give them some form of incentive. Some organizations will do so in terms of monetary compensation. Others will also do so in terms of other forms of compensation, like offering products and other items, just to make sure that they can get the people in one place to answer their questions, right? However, to be able to do a focus group traditionally, apart from these cost implications, you need to be able to get video technology to be able to record in real time whatever is happening in the room. You need to have a room that will give you two-way mirror access, so that you can be able to observe from a distance the mannerisms and the facial expressions and all the actions that are being exhibited by these focus group participants in real time, all of which had cost implications. However, in the online context, it's very easy to do all these things, because what would have cost you to get a physical location, get a videographer to video, what it would have cost you to create this two-way mirror where you have to stand and observe everything that they are doing, has been all put together digitally into one technology. So now you can be able to have access to all these tools in one online software that will help you to be able to conduct your focus group discussions, observe the behavior of all your participants, record their mannerisms and their responses in real time, and even be able to go back and look over it to be able to make notes and transcribe and get a feel of all the information that was provided, both verbally and non-verbally. So what example of software can we use to do online focus group discussions based on the description I just gave? An example of an online tool or software. We are using one now. Zoom.
Microsoft Teams.
Microsoft Teams. So you can set up the video. Everyone has their video on. You're observing them in real time. You are also hearing their responses. They are giving you that in real time, and it's all being recorded at the same time for you, right? So that's two examples of software we can now use to do online focus group discussions, which will help us avoid all the hassle of what we have to go through traditionally in the offline context to get the same focus group discussion done. We can also talk about online questionnaires and surveys, which hitherto, if we were doing offline, we had to physically print out the surveys, get human beings to go to the locations of where our respondents are and administer these surveys one after the other. However, with the online context, we just have to design the survey using one of the online survey platforms, either Google Forms or SurveyMonkey or any of the other survey platforms we have at our disposal, and then send it out in a blast. Or copy the link and send it out on various platforms and get the respondents to respond remotely, and all the responses will be collated at one place, which again makes it easier for the marketer, because hitherto, when we obtain the questionnaires after the respondents have answered them, we have to sit down now and categorize and enter each of the responses one after the other. However, with online technology, as the respondents are answering the survey wherever they are on whatever device they are answering it, once they complete it and they click done, that survey software or platform that we are using compiles everything into a huge data set and just collates it into one and provides it to us, which makes it a million times more convenient, because we can be able to compile more survey responses than we would have if we were doing it physically, perhaps in a fraction of the time. At the same time, too, we have at our disposal what we refer to as social media listening. And this is a direct consequence of the interplay of negative and positive advocacy that we talked about. Because by listening on social media to the various forms of advocacy that is going on, be it positive or negative, you can be able to get a sense of how users feel about your products or services, what their perceptions are about these products or services, and how you can be able to improve your products and services to enhance customer experience, all by just listening in on their conversations and exchanges via social media, right? Again, we can talk about customer feedback and support forums, which can be facilitated either independently or by us on our own platforms like our website or our social media pages. Also, we can talk about web analytics, which are the various tools that we incorporate into our website to help us monitor the behavior of the customers or users that visit our platforms. So with web analytics, we can monitor things like how much traffic we get on our website at any point in time. We can monitor it in real time. We can monitor it daily, weekly, monthly, depending on the timing that is relevant to us. We can also look at the source of this traffic. The users who are visiting our websites, where are they coming from? Are they coming from specific geographic locations? Are they coming from other websites and clicking through to our website? These are all information that we can access as a result of web analytics. We can also look at what pages they view most when they visit our website, as well as how much time they spend on our website and what activities they engage in while they are on our website. These are all, together with the others we have discussed, forms in which we can be able to conduct research online. Now, with regard to varying products online, we can finally talk about the speed of new product development and diffusion. And here it is a direct result of the fact that internet technology gives us instant access to target markets and platforms, right, in real time, which were not possible traditionally in the offline context. And this instant access helps us to rapidly develop products, explore the viability of these products, and be able to disseminate them far and wide over a short period of time. Now, the concepts that helps us to be able to appreciate how this speed of new product development and diffusion occurs is what we refer to as the tipping point concept. Now, the tipping point concept basically looks at how we are able to develop new products and get them to spread far and wide among various users and customers using what we refer to as the science of social epidemics, right? So social epidemics refer to how general epidemics that we traditionally know of that have to do with diseases spread. Like we are currently in the middle of one of those epidemics, right? So it basically looks at how ideas, right, and concepts are spread socially among people, among individuals, right? And the tipping point concept gives us three main laws that are relevant to how these ideas and concepts spread socially among various individuals and groups of people. And we are going to look at these three main laws and see how they apply to electronic marketing activities, starting from the first law, which has to do with the law of the few. Now, the law of the few talks about how there's the idea of a new product and its adoption spreads by means of individuals who are socially connected to a certain number of people by means of a particular network. And these people we are talking about who are connected to these people in these networks help the idea of our product and service and its adoption to spread through word of mouth, or what we refer to as copycat behavior. And there are three main kinds of individuals or users online who can help us to use this law of the few to achieve the diffusion of our products and services among potential and current customers, including one, connectors. Now, connectors are basically the life of the party, right? They have a special gift of connecting with people and bringing people together. And because of that, everywhere they go to, they make friends. So online, you realize that they have so many people that they know in their network, such that once you get access to them, you have access to all these other people that are within their network. So when you get these connectors to adopt a particular product or service, or to buy into the idea of these products or services, they begin to spread the word amongst their network and all the people that they are connected to, that they know, that they are cool with, to also come on board and test out and buy these products and services. Please, I hope this makes sense.
Very well done.
Yes, it does.
So we see the typical connector concepts being applied on online platforms like LinkedIn. where as soon as you connect with somebody or you establish a connection with someone, they begin to suggest with you people within that person's network that you could possibly know, that you also want to be connected to. Have you observed that?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Facebook also does the same thing by suggesting to you people you may know as a result of a connector that you have recently become connected with on the platform. So that is how e-marketers use the concept of the connector to reach other individuals and users within a particular network. Next, we can talk about the mavens. Now, the mavens here are trusted experts in a particular field, right? Who seek to pass timely and relevant knowledge on to others in their respective fields. So as e-marketers, we often want to rely on mavens in our area of expertise or mavens in our field to help spread the word about the products and services that we offer. So we realize that if we find a particular celebrity that we want to endorse the products and services that we sell, we want it to be a celebrity who perhaps is a maven in the product and service that we are selling. So you realize that the brands that sell apparel and sports equipment often take as endorsers or influencers, sportsmen and women. Have you realized that?
Yes.
Good.
Sure.
So Serena Williams will always wear the latest version of Nike's tennis apparel, including the dresses, the sneakers, the rackets, and all that, right? Tiger Woods was always modeling golf attire, golf shoes, golf clubs, amongst all that for the brands because they are seen as mavens in that field. So if Tiger Woods, who is a maven at golf, is modeling golf attire, anyone who is interested in golf would most likely want to buy what Tiger Woods is wearing. Gloria, please, your hand was up. Has your question been answered or you're okay?
No, but it's okay. But just that I had wanted to ask that some of these endorsers, do they really test it? Because sometimes I get confused. Because they are popular, we attach them to such a product.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, well, when you, as an individual, you are going to use it, it's not the best.
Good.
And I saw a typical example is the FM stations.
Yeah.
They will make noise about a particular product. By the time you also get to use it, they now come back and say that they will not come back, but then the individual experience will not be nice. So sometimes I get confused about
So at this
things.
point, we realize that the FM stations here are not mavens. They are just connectors. Are you with me?
Yes.
So you cannot treat a connector the same way you would treat a maven because our expectations of a maven are totally different from a connector. So when you hear something from a connector, you know not to take it hook, line, and sinker because they are just promoting it. You know they are not a maven, so they are not an expert to be able to tell you exactly whether this product is good or not. That's why I blame people who hear adverts on radio stations and immediately they go and buy the product. Gloria, this is not an attack at you. It's just an observation as a marketer. Because I'm like, these people are saying, and usually the way they advertise the thing, because they are connectors and most of them are salesmen, right? They are very good at persuading people. They'll be like, and this particular one I've been hearing, Tabia herbal mixture, a real way, and I'm like, okay, where are the medical people who are the mavens to endorse this thing? We need the medical people who can tell us the constituents and why these products are best suited to cure these diseases you're talking about. So for me as a marketer, maybe because I'm a marketer, when I hear all these various forms of communication, I look at the source and I use it to judge how to perceive whatever it is that I'm receiving. So I think buyer beware. Okay, it is the concepts that we need to move with from now on. Right? Who knows the Latin phrase for that? You know, there's a Latin phrase for buyer beware.
Hello, madam.
Yeah.
Hello, madam.
Yes, who knows the Latin phrase for buyer beware?
Caveat emptor.
Caveat emptor. Right? Thank Thank you very much. So Kenya, self-talk, Gloria.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Thank you.
You're welcome, Gloria. So now when you get those communications, please look at it. Is the person a connector, a maven, or a salesman? Right? And that brings us to our next. Good. Right? And that brings us to our next individual here, which is the salespeople. They also may not necessarily be experts in the area, but they are just skilled at talking and persuasion. So once you're a good talker and you can convince people, you can get them to buy anything. Right? Some of your hand is up. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So, madam, with this advert where they tell you the advert has been vetted and approved by FDA. How about that one? You still need someone or maybe a doctor coming to say that okay, it is good or not.
I also take that one with a pinch of salt.
Hello.
Because I know the FDA as an institution does not have time to
FDA.
be. Yeah. Go ahead.
But now it's a requirement that every advert you do must be vetted and approved by the FDA. I know, for instance, like where I work now, Danex, we did an advert where it wasn't approved by the FDA. We had already rolled it out, but because they do add to by FDA.
Yes.
So sometimes we may not necessarily use maybe. Dana is the pharmaceutical industry, so maybe the best professional to use maybe a pharmacist or a doctor.
Yeah.
But in light of this, sometimes we use actors and the rest.
Good.
So where you don't see a doctor, maybe funny face or Manana Mama Brown is approving or endorsing a product.
Yeah.
And then it is approved by it's only that approved by FDA.
Yeah.
Would you say that you still will need maybe a professional coming to validate it before?
It depends on the consumer you are dealing with, right? Some consumers are more skeptic than others. I am more of a skeptic consumer.
I'm okay.
Maybe because I'm a marketer, right? And I know what my people can do. So I'm very skeptical. I always like to use multiple sources of evidence to verify a decision or a choice. So even when I see FDA approved, there are other things that I also look out for, right? For instance, if I see FDA approved on a Danex advert, I will not doubt it because Danex has been in existence for how long? Right? So it is a brand that I have grown up with. I have been taking Durol since childhood. And in fact, I still take Durol sometimes. So if I see Danex doing an advert and I see FDA approved, I know Danex has no reason to lie to me. Because Danex has been in existence for a long time. I can trust them. They are reliable and they are saying FDA approved. I believe it. But when I see these recent herbal somethings, this advert has been FDA approved, I'm like, are these people not just saying this thing?
Like root and co.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm always like, I need to verify this thing. Because as a marketer, I know that for certain products, people go through different processes as FDA. I know people who have taken, this one is off the record. I know people who have gone to FDA before telling to seek approval. And for some funny reason, their products did not go through the full extent of the testing and the processes have to go through before approval. But they've gotten the approval. Sooner than other people with other products.
So, very true.
Madam, it's true, pa.
Even when I see FDA approved, I need other sources of evidence.
Very is having an issue with company now, and TIDA Mofra Commando is now is facing a huge challenge on the market now because FDA has directed that we take out the dihydramine from the formulation.
Good.
So that the 3 months will be moved to 5 years.
Yeah.
But there are other companies that are still using the though they are still using the diphenhydramine, I've written 3 months. Then on the indication, they are still using 3 months, and we have moved ours to 5 years. So the volumes that we used to move, we are no longer able to move that volume or those volumes because we are just complying with FDA. But others, I don't want to mention this, but are still using the 3 months, and they are moving huge volumes.
Good. So you can see what I'm talking about. So again, back to caveat emptor. So I need other evidence. So that is why I will trust the name Danex in addition to FDA approved. You see where I'm coming from now?
Yeah.
So thank you, Samuel, for that verification. Right? Alfred, your hand is up.
Yeah, hello, Doc.
Yeah.
So I think my issue also have to do with the regulatory agencies, right?
Yeah.
So for instance, people like the FDA, they are more into the content of whatever you are into them to see whether the ingredient requirements have been met.
Yeah.
So that is the FDA. But my main issue has to do with the influencers, for instance. Because for instance, if you have people like Nana Mama and the rest endorsing your brand.
Yes.
It's an agency like maybe the Advertising Association of Ghana or maybe the CIMT.
Yeah.
These things for marketing. Now, a lot of people believe these influences. And most of these people are, to some extent, novice or naive.
Yeah.
And because they have faith in the people that they like, the Nana Mama Brown, the Zach, all these people, whatever these people endorse, they assume and believe these things are true. But
that's true.
After people go through this, you realize it's a total scheme. But sometimes when these people look at the monetary consideration, they don't really have any technical know-how about what they are endorsing.
Yeah.
Let people at play. So what happens to the AAG, as in the Advertising Association of Ghana, and then the CIMG? I think they also have to come in to help some of these followers who are so naive.
Good. But the problem is, I wouldn't want to say that they can't be bothered. I'd like to call it constraints, legal and resource constraints, right? Because a number of these agencies exist, but they do not have laws backing their operations. Do you get it? So if we talk about the Advertising Agency of Ghana, for instance, I'm asking myself, what Ghanaian law is available for them to use as a grounding to go after all these people who are deceiving consumers? Whereas in countries like the US and the UK, we have laws that actually help them to go after them. Recently, there was a case in the UK where a particular influencer did something online and did not clearly indicate the side effects of some product they were endorsing. The advertising people went after that particular individual and fined the person to court. In Ghana here, what law is going to give them that authority to do so? Right? And some of these influencers to know that the product they are endorsing is not good enough. But being African, for selfish reasons, that's why I was happy when the alcohol people were banned from using celebrities. Because it was making a lot of our youth fall into alcoholism, taking strong beverages with various formulations that they did not even understand the effects that those formulations were having on their bodies and their systems, and it was putting them into all kinds of danger. So I was happy when they put their foot down and they banned that thing. They protested, but it's still held, and I'm happy that at least they were able to do that. So can the policy agencies give us more laws that these independent agencies can be able to use as a grounding to prosecute some of these things and put a stop to some of these actions? I think we need a strong call to action for that, Alfred. But until that call to action comes, I don't think we'll go anywhere.
I get it. Thank you.
You're welcome, Alfred. Paul, please, your hand is up.
Please, back to the number one, where we have the salesman.
Yeah.
The salesman. So my concern is, I mean, I think we are in this field.
Yeah.
We marketing students are in this field. So as a salesman, are you not supposed to have a very good knowledge of what you are going to sell and its potentials and everything before you do that? Do you just sell anything just because you are a salesperson?
It will shock you that not all salesmen are ethical.
Okay.
And salesmen have a gift and a tendency to embellish.
Okay. Yes.
So they'll tell you the basic characteristics or the basics that you need to hear, and then some to make sure that they push you over the edge to make the purchase.
As to whether they are factual or not is another thing.
Exactly, because for a lot of them, it's about the KPIs. They have targets. So what to say to get you to make the purchase so that they can meet their targets? I can't tell you enough how many people have been convinced into buying into certain products and services, and then what they heard prior to the purchase becomes totally different after they actually take the plunge and make the purchase or sign the contract or get involved. They realize that what they were told is totally different from what they start to experience.
So, madam, I think that with goods, in the area of goods, I think is a bit different. But in the area of services,
yeah,
then you, as a salesperson, you encounter challenges because when you go out there to sell services and say all kinds of things, then the customers are now confronted with the service itself, and then they realize it isn't all that you said.
That's true.
Then you find yourself in trouble with these customers because they will come back at you.
Definitely.
Say that you gave us all these products, and when we went there, they weren't so. Even the customer service, this and all that.
Yeah.
Your prices are not as you said and all that.
Yeah. That's true.
So I think that it still puts a lot of responsibility on us, the marketers, to know much about the products we go out to sell.
I agree, Paul. Thank you for that contribution. Nene, please go ahead.
Look, I was just going to say that the AAG doesn't have any power whatsoever, even for the people.
Thank you for the confirmation.
How much more the customers?
Exactly.
No power.
Exactly. So that goes back to our call to the regulatory bodies to come up with laws to empower these independent agencies to help in the fights against all these individuals and celebrities who are trusted and unfortunately are relying on this trust to deceive innocent buyers. So thank you, Nene, for reiterating that. Samuel, your hand is still up. Finally, then we can continue.
Yeah. So I just wanted. Yes, I wanted to add a bit to the ethics on the side of the salesman. A lot of the times when you find yourself in a commercial setting, you are faced with targets. You need to meet targets and the rest. So sometimes we are forced to.
I know, right?
Where one of my reps had to mix up an expired, close to expired product to and one that will be expiring maybe in the next 2 years because he had to meet his target.
Exactly.
And when you go to, I had the privilege of working with USAID, PSI, where they are looking at the impact you are making on the society and not the target itself.
Exactly.
So they are looking at, okay, make the product known to the customer and let him or her make a choice.
Good.
We're then selling family planning products. So between Secure and then the Jadel and the rest, make the product known to the customer and let him or her make a choice. And that is what they are focused on. So where you find yourself in that setting, there's no force around you where I need to meet the target at all costs. You are looking at impacting.
Yeah. So it's easier for you to be ethical.
So sometimes it depends on where you find yourself, but at least the ethical. Exactly.
I totally agree. Thank you, Samuel, for adding that huge amount of insight to the discussion. Right? So that is it for the law of the few, right? And we have seen various dynamics of how the law of the few can sometimes play in our favor and also go against us, right? So that is the first law. Still on the tipping point concept, we have a second law that talks about the stickiness factor. And we are looking at what characteristics of our brand, right, will make the users stick to us or will make the customers stick to us. And here, customers or users usually stick to a particular brand for 4 main reasons. The first one being excellence. excellence will always attract users. Excellence will always attract customers because customers will always want to enjoy the best. And there are certain brands that for several years and time without number have been able to stand out and prove that among their peers, they are the most excellent, right? And there are so many of these brands around us. We can talk about the Apple brand, we can talk about Mercedes-Benz, we can talk about Volvo, among other huge global brands that have been able to distinguish themselves when it comes to excellence. We can also talk about uniqueness, right? Where we have brands that are differentiating themselves based on how they are unique and stand out in terms of their features and characteristics from other brands that are within their category, right? We can also talk about the level of engagement. Some brands are more emotionally and involved with their customers and users and have more of a close relationship with them, rather than other brands which are a bit more far removed and do not really get involved in emotionally with their users, right? So some brands are very popular with certain target customers because of the personal involvement and the attention to detail, right? Whereas other brands are popular with users and users are stuck to them mainly because of cost. Because let's face it, customers are rational. They always want value for money. So the one who can give them the best value for the money that they have, they will definitely stick to and keep coming back to, right? So these are 4 aspects of a brand or a product or services or product or services, sorry, that e-marketers can use to create a stickiness factor to keep users or customers stuck to their brand. And once a user group or set of customers become stuck to your brand, it's very easy for them to motivate others to also come and stick to your brand through word of mouth and copycat behavior, as we have learned earlier under the first law, which talked about the law of the few, right? Next, we can talk about the power of context. And here it is all about understanding the fact that products and behavior spread far and wide only when they fit the physical, social, and mental context in which they are launched. So if you are trying to launch a particular product or service, you need to create a context online in which the customer can be able to experience the product or service as they would have if they were consuming it in an offline context. So you realize that with examples like what we experienced with the Visit London online platform, for instance, we saw that they had created the context where you could be able to experience that online setting the way you would have physically experienced London if you had visited it in person, right? So the online tourism platform was designed to be able to mimic the physical context, which it was designed to represent by way of tourism, right? And we as e-marketers also need to realize that with regard to the power of context, we should always introduce products with key timing and placement. Because if the product is not introduced with the right timing and at the right place, it can severely hinder the level of dissemination of the product or service that we are trying to sell. So you realize that if you are dealing with certain products that are not compatible with a particular consumer group, and you decide to advertise this product or test this product within a context where this consumer group or target group are found, definitely you are testing it among the wrong audience and will not get the kind of feedback that you are looking for. That is why you realize that whenever brands like Unilever and Nestle want to launch consumables, they do so in marketplaces, in supermarkets. Likewise, if they want to launch such a product online, they need to advertise it on platforms where they are likely to find the demographic of customers who are interested in purchasing that particular product or item. And you will see that with some of the platforms where these items are tested, you can be able to sign up to receive a free sample of the item, either in the mail or physically delivered to your destination, for you to be able to test out and provide feedback. These are all ways by which the power of context is utilized to be able to ensure that we get the most out of our product testing and dissemination using the online medium. Please, I hope that makes sense.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, So that is it for the tipping point concept, right? And with that, we come to the end of the product element and how we can use online technology to vary it for our purposes as e-marketers. Next, we are going to talk about the price element. And this has to do with money and the value that is exchanged for various products and services that are offered online. So when we talk about price, it's basically about the monetary value charged for goods and services offered, as well as the pricing models at which these goods and services are offered online. So when we talk about pricing models, we are basically referring to the forms of payment that are available to various online users, right? Including outright purchase where they can buy the item immediately and pay for it. And then we can also talk about auctions, right? As well as rentals. We can also talk about hire purchase and various credit terms that are available to people who want to buy items, both offline and online. Now, when it comes to the online context, there are four main ways by which we can vary price online, right? And these include the increased price transparency, which influences our ability to be able to offer products at differential prices, which we will break down very soon. The downward pressure on price, which makes items cheaper, and new pricing approaches that are now available to us as marketers, including price testing, auctions, and dynamic pricing, as well as alternative pricing and policies. All of them can use online. We are going to dissect right now, starting from increased price transparency. Now, when we talk about increased price transparency, we are talking about the fact that we can be able to give customers information about the various prices at which we offer our products and services. And because of that, there is no way you can hide the cost of your product from a customer. This is largely as a result of the existence of platforms like the price comparison sites that we looked at, including pricerunner.com and kelco.com, that compile all these informations and put them in one place for the customer to be able to access. However, because of this same increased price transparency, identical products can be priced differently for different types of customers, markets, or buying situations. And that is because different user groups access our products and services at different times from different locations and on different online platforms. So depending on the timing that a product is being accessed and where the product is being accessed from, we can be able to vary the pricing that we offer. So you realize that if you are accessing an item on a platform that is hosted from India, the price will be presented in the Indian currency, which is rupees. And based on the exchange rate, the price will be different because the exchange rate compared to the Ghana cedi will differ. Please, I hope that makes sense.
Sure.
And that is differential pricing in terms of the location. We can also talk about differential pricing in terms of timing. When we talk about platforms like Amazon, you realize that at certain times of the day or on specific days of the week, Amazon offers certain deals on certain products for a limited period of time. So all the people who get to buy that particular item at that particular time on that particular day get to buy the item at that particular price. So let's look at a typical example. I'm taking us back to the Amazon website. Please, can we see what is here?
Yes, please.
Good. So you can see that it is showing us deals and promotions, right? Under the tab called Today's Deals. Now you can see for the first one, deal of the day, they are offering you a laptop, a headpiece, and a keyboard. I think this is a gaming set. Yes, it is. It's the Razer gaming laptop and accessories. All together, right? Or individually. They are showing you the various prices at which you can purchase them. And the offer is available for the next, what? 23 hours and some minutes. Please, can you see that? And the clock is ticking downwards. So all those who are available and able to purchase it within this time period will pay this price. However, once the time elapses, the prices will revert back to where they were originally. Please, I hope that makes sense.
Yes, Doc.
So the differential pricing is in terms of the timing. Someone gets to purchase at a different price depending on the time that they are buying it. If it is today, it's the deal of the day, so they get it for cheaper. If it is another time, they may have to pay full price. Someone, please, your hand is up. You can go ahead. Oh, okay.
No, well, I think it's the earlier one. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Right. So these are typical examples of differential pricing. However, going back to our slides, there's something we need to take cognizance of, and that is the fact that pricing online is relatively inelastic, right? In terms of the fact that we cannot clearly equate increase in price to reductions in what? Purchase. Nene, please go ahead.
I wanted to know if it's the same as the flash sale.
Yes, a flash sale is an example of a differential pricing technique. You get it? So the flash sale is an opportunity to sell to a certain group of customers who can take advantage of the flash sale at a reduced price, but also are not able to take advantage of the flash sale after it has ended, will have to pay the full price for it. So then I hope that answers your question. Okay. So like I was saying, with regard to pricing online, this is relatively inelastic in the sense that one, pricing is only one variable that we can use to be able to determine whether or not a customer will buy a particular item. So we cannot for a fact say that if we reduce the price, more customers will buy, or if we increase the price, less customers will buy, right? And another thing we also need to understand is the fact that consumers often display what we refer to as satisficing behavior. They would often not go in for the best quality at the best price. Satisfying behavior indicates that customers will often go with what satisfies it. In that they'll go for okay value for an okay price. It doesn't make sense.
Yes, please.
Good. So it's not all the time and in every purchase situation or scenario that the customer will go for the best item at the highest price. In certain scenarios, they'll go for the cheapest item at the cheapest price. In other scenarios, they'll go for okay quality for an okay price, right? So when it comes to pricing and the concept of increased price transparency, we need to be able to understand this. And it is because of these two variables that differential pricing is possible. Because you may organize a flash sale, but not everybody may want to buy a flash sale. Me personally, I'm terrified of sales, regardless of who is doing it, where they are doing it, and how they are doing it. You want to know why?
Yes, Doc.
Because for me, I know it is an opportunity for my people to be able to, one, move stock that they will not be able to move to on a normal day. So if something is not selling, they'll take advantage of a sales period and reduce it so that it will sell, not necessarily because it's the best quality. That's one. Two, because it is sales, customers often do not ask a lot of questions because they believe they are getting the best value for money. So they have the opportunity to slip in a lot of substandard things and mix them up with quality things and sell them all together in a bundle, all in the name of sales. So for me, I'm very terrified of sales. Regardless of how good the deal looks, I always want to ask a lot of questions because there's always a but, right? So that is the concept of increased price transparency when it comes to marketing online. Again, we can talk about the downward pressure on price, and it's a direct consequence of increased price transparency in terms of the fact that we have all these new intermediaries that have come up, including the aggregators and the price comparison sites, who are able to give customers at a glance all the prices at which they can be able to get whatever product or service they are looking for with different features, enabling them to be able to make an objective decision regarding what item to purchase based on the features that are being offered and the price at which it is being offered. So if you are a retailer or an e-marketer and you are selling products that are similar to what other sellers are selling or identical to what they are selling, you are forced to often make your item hover around the same price range that those of the other sellers are offering to avoid missing out on sales as a result of being listed on these aggregator sites or price comparison sites. So you realize that when you go to these price comparison sites, you see that the price differences are sometimes not large, including in Ghana here. When you look at online sellers, they often sell the same items around the same price range. Sometimes the price difference of plus or minus, depending on the value of the item, if it is a not so high value item, cost difference of plus or minus 5 cedis or 10 cedis or 15 cedis because of the downward pressure on price. Because you know people are offering it at a cheaper price. If you go any higher, you risk not being able to make a sale. Likewise, we can talk about the concept of lower operating costs when it comes to the offline context. Because if you, when it comes to the online context, sorry, because if you compare the cost of operating offline to online, the cost differences are huge, such that if you were selling offline, you will have to incur huge amounts of cost that you would hitherto not incur online, including getting a physical location, paying for amenities at that physical location, including electricity, water, store setup. You need to get salespeople to man the shop. You need to be able to pay for perhaps cleaners if the person who does the job of the salesperson is not good enough to also be a cleaner. You need to pay for security in the event that where you have taken up your shop is not safe. All of these things are costs that have to be incurred offline. However, online, the significant amount of cost you will incur will be in building an online website. That is assuming you want to use a website. In the event you don't want to do so, you can use any of these social media platforms, including Instagram, to just set up a makeshift page and start selling your items on, which is significantly at a cheaper cost than you would have if you were setting up offline. So such a person will find it easier to sell the items that they are selling at a cheaper price than somebody who was selling it offline physically to customers. And that is with regard to the downward pressure on price, which is introduced by the online context. Next, we can talk about innovative pricing approaches. And these include forward auctions and reverse auctions. Now, forward auctions often are implemented in the B2C market, where we see that businesses or individuals who are selling items post their items online and buyers get the opportunity to bid on these items. Now, it is a forward auction because the price of the item keeps moving forward or upward in the event that the item gets being sold in the end to the person who offered the highest bid, right? On platforms like eBay, we experience this concept and phenomenon of forward auctions in real time, seeing how people bid independently on items with the item ending up getting sold to the highest bidder. However, with reverse auctions, it is the reverse. And it's usually seen in the B2B market, where we are looking at items being bid on, but in this case, they are not bidding on items to be sold to the highest bidder, but they often bid on contracts, bid on services that are needed to be provided. And the contract ends up getting awarded to the person who can offer the best value at the most affordable price, right? So best value at the best price ends up with the contract. And we see this a lot with the processes that most organizations, including government, go through when they are going through the tender process for various service providers and organizations to bid, to be able to provide certain services to the government or to these companies, right? And hitherto offline, this was done physically, where you have to go physically and submit your tender. You will wait until a certain time. When the time elapses, everybody present will be present, and then the tenders will be open, they'll be put together, they'll be assessed, and all those processes will be handled physically. But now with reverse auctions, it can all be done online. And the selection process can be done in real time with little to no physical involvement, right? And these are being used more widely, especially in recent times with the pandemic that we are experiencing in respect of COVID-19, right? Next, we can talk about the concepts of price testing and dynamic pricing, where you can use price testing to see how sensitive customers are to the prices of certain items. Because it is in the online context, it is very easy for you as a retailer to vary the price of the item that you are selling. such that you can be able to change the price in real time. And this will help you to be able to see how customers respond, such that if the customers are not responding at a certain price point, perhaps because it is too high, in real time, you can modify the price and then change it to a price point where you know the customers will be less sensitive, or keep changing it by means of experimentation. So you arrive at a price point where you can see that customers are more comfortable and are responding better, right? And this is directly in relation to dynamic pricing, where the price keeps changing depending on customer sensitivity to it. And this can be done in real time, depending on the types of customers that you are dealing with and the season that you are dealing with, among others. So that is it for innovative pricing approaches. And we can also talk about alternative pricing structures and policies, including basic price. Like I said, when it comes to the online context, there's a basic price at which certain items are sold. And therefore, regardless of the seller you are buying from, you expect to buy the item within that ballpark of a price, such that you do not expect the price to be outrageously above this basic price or significantly below. That is why some people use the basic price as a means of determining the quality of products that are being sold to them. And in this era, we are experiencing this concept happening a lot in the makeup industry, where people are using the basic price concept to be able to determine the difference between fake makeup products and authentic makeup products. Because they realize that the fake makeup products are often able to be sold at ridiculously low prices beyond the basic price at which they know a makeup product of that particular brand should be sold. The ladies in the class, have any of you had this experience before? Have you seen a particular product from a makeup brand, like say a Maybelline makeup product or a Mary Kay makeup product being sold at an outrageously low price, below the basic price that you know it is being sold at? Any of you experienced something like that?
Oh, yes.
Makola, they have MAC products at
Good.
a cheaper price.
Good. And you yourself, when you see the price, you compare it against the basic price and you're like, nah, there's something off here, right? And this concept can be directly applied online. So thank you, Nene, for sharing, right? And we use the same thing to check. MAC products are being sold online, and when you look at the basic price at which a MAC product of that particular type is being sold at, you realize, no, there's a question mark here, right? Alternative pricing structure could also include discounts, which you can see a lot of the online retailers use to be able to move items very fast. And you realize that these discounts are often offered in tandem with certain seasons and unique celebrations that come up throughout the calendar year. So we have discounts that are offered at Christmas time, discounts that are offered at Easter time, discounts that are offered during Valentine, during Eid, during all manner of occasions, right? There are discounts for every occasion. All of these are pricing structures that are offered online. We can also talk about add-ons and extra products and services, which we experienced earlier in our example on Amazon, where we saw we were looking at male skincare products, and they gave us certain add-ons, which we could purchase all together at a discounted price, right? And these add-ons were extra products that were being added onto the original product that we went in search of to purchase in the first place. And these are all parts of the alternative pricing structures, because the add-ons and the extra products are added onto what we are buying, often at a reduced price or at a competitive price that make it difficult to pass up. We can also talk about refund policies. And like I said in the beginning, sometimes online buyers are given preferential treatment when it comes to the purchase of certain types of items. So your refund policy when you buy an item online may be more accommodating, right, than a refund policy that is given to someone who buys an item offline. Likewise, order cancellation terms, they may be more strict when it comes to order cancellation offline than they would online, because in certain sectors, like we mentioned, it is very possible for you to do so physically, and you can be able to see the full extent of the item you are purchasing. Sometimes is such that it's difficult for you to not cancel the order there and then when you see something wrong. So the terms may be more flexible when you are buying online, given that you do not have the additional benefits that someone who is buying physically offline has, to be able to properly and fully assess the item that you are purchasing at the price at which you are purchasing it. And that is it for alternative pricing structure and policies, which brings us to the end of the pricing element. Now, the last element we are going to discuss today is the place element. And this has to do with the elements of the marketing mix that involves distributing the product to customers in line with demand and minimizing the cost of inventory, transport, and storage. Now, when it comes to place and selling in the online context, it is very important to ask because, as we learned previously, physical locations become very important even when we are selling online in terms of the sale of physical goods. So when you are selling physical goods, you need to be able to think long and hard about the possibility of getting these physical goods to the final buyer at their location once the transaction has been processed and completed online. However, there are certain products and services that can also be fully offered online using digital technologies, right? And as a result of that, place can be varied online along 4 main dimensions, including 1, the place of purchase, 2, new channel structures, 3, channel conflicts, which have to be resolved in order to benefit from the concept of the new channel structures and their effectiveness, and then the concept of virtual organizations. We are going to break these down in the subsequent slides, starting from place of purchase. Now, when it comes to place of purchase here, we are talking about self-controlled platforms online, also referred to as vendor sites, where the owner of the brand or product or service sells directly through this platform to their buyers. And examples of these include Dell.com. For the longest time, Dell computers were only accessible directly online through the Dell platform or through people who have bought from the Dell platforms and were selling independently. Uber.com is another self-controlled vendor site where you can go directly and book a ride on Uber, right? Alternatively, you can also do so using the mobile app that they have built for the same purposes. Next, we can talk about seller-oriented. I think there's a bit of a typo here. Let me try and fix it quickly. Then we proceed. So here we are talking about seller-oriented. That's good. Okay. So for seller-oriented platforms, we are talking here about intermediaries that are controlled by third parties to the seller. So the seller does not own these platforms. However, the third parties, in this case being the intermediaries, control the interaction between the buyers and the sellers, such that they provide a meeting point or a marketplace, if you will, where the buyers and sellers can come together and do business and transact with each other. Examples of these seller-oriented platforms include Amazon.com. We can also talk about Tonaton.com. These are all platforms which facilitate meetings between buyers and sellers to come together to transact with each other. Next, we can talk about the neutral platforms. And these are neutral because they are neither controlled by buyers nor sellers. And they basically provide information that facilitates the transactionary process between the buyers and the sellers. Typical examples of these comparison sites include aggregators and price comparison sites like pricegrabber.com and kelco.com and pricerunner.com, all of which aggregate information regarding pricing and product features and present them independently to consumers and leave them to freely make their choice of the particular supplier or seller that they want to go ahead and buy from. Please, I hope that makes sense.
Yes, Doc.
Good. Next, we can talk about buyer-oriented platforms. And these ones have to do with intermediaries that are controlled by buyers in order to establish an efficient purchasing environment for other buyers like themselves. So a typical example is myvouchercodes.com. And myvouchercodes.com is a platform in the US where you can obtain vouchers to get discounts on the purchase of various products and items, right? So I don't know if you can see my screen right now, but I have currently taken us to myvouchercodes.com. Can we see that?
Yes, Doc.
Good.
Yes,
now this
Doc.
is the UK version of the platform. And here you can see that they offer you vouchers or discount codes to get discounts on various types of products and items depending on what you are trying to purchase. So you can see that here from the onset, there are discount codes for Adidas items, and then there are discount codes for QVC. Please, can you see that?
Yes, Doc.
At the same time, too, you can go through the different tabs that have been provided to look at the various categories of items you can get a discount code for. And you can see that the categories are limitless. Please, can we see that? They offer categories to get discounts from everything related to travel, fashion, home and garden, tech, gifts and occasion, days out, health and beauty, sports and fitness, kids and babies, entertainment, food and drink, eating out. You can get discount codes for each of these. Should we put one to the test? Which one should we check for the discount codes for? Random. Which one?
Eating out.
Eating out. Okay, so let's do restaurants. So when we click on restaurants, we can see all the vouchers and the deals that are available for restaurants. Please, can we see that?
Sure, Doc.
So they have restaurants, including Domino's. So for Domino's, they have discounts, and then they have codes too for you to be able to get a discount. So here, the discounts for the two for Tuesday, which says buy one, get one free at Domino's. So I think this is for every Domino's. And then this one is for the Domino's specifically at Cardiff, which offers 40% off orders over £40. And you can get it using this code. Then there's Papa John's, right? And these are all codes. And they tell you whether it's nationwide or for a specific location. So these are all nationwide, right? And this one is available for a limited period of time. This one only has 6 days left on it. This one is available until 28th March. This one available until 31st March, right? Please, can you see that? Then they have discounts for Just Eat, discounts for KFC, discounts for Deliveroo, right? Discounts for Tops Pizza, discounts for Gourmet Society. And here you can see there's students at the bottom, meaning that it is what type of discount? Hello? There's students at the bottom here, meaning it's what type of discount? What type of discount would this be, please?
I think it's school admission, something.
No, look, it's Gourmet Society. It's a restaurant, but they have put students at the bottom of the discount, meaning that it's a student.
Those discounts, yeah, apply to students that
good.
probably present an ID card.
An ID code to be able to redeem that code, right? So you see how detailed these vouchers are, and they are designed to be consumer friendly. Just like we mentioned when we were describing this type of platform, where we said they are buyer oriented. So they are designed to make the life of the buyer easier. Please, I hope that makes sense.
Okay, yes.
Good. Then finally, we can talk about the buyer controlled platforms, right? Where there are websites that facilitate procurement posting by buyers. And here it usually takes place in the B2B market. So if we were a business and we were looking for a buyer, for a seller to deliver some kind of product or service to us, we would go to one of these procurement platforms and post an advert soliciting for offers or soliciting for tenders from people who believe that, or organizations who believe that they can provide this service or deliver this product that we are looking for. Alternatively, instead of using a procurement website, we can use a website that we develop ourselves and conduct reverse auctions on that website to arrive at the same outcome of encouraging people to post tenders for the various projects that we put out there that we want to complete. And a typical example is maestro.com, which I want us to look at very quickly. So this is maestro.com. And you can see that under maestro.com, if you are a company, you can be able to source for various services, right? And here you have the option of either using the general platform or engaging Maestro to build a platform for your organization personally that is customized to suit your needs, right? So to be able to see if it's a good fit and you want your organization to have its own personal form of Maestro, you can be able to book a demo up here. Please, can we see that?
Yes, Doc.
Good. Otherwise, you can just go ahead and start posting your adverts to be able to source for offers from various service providers who can deliver the service that you are offering, right? And here they are pitching it by giving you some of the statistics for using the platform. So you can see that they said here, if you use a platform like Maestro, you can get 14.8% average savings, right? On the services that you procure or the products that you procure. And you have access to an over 36,000 suppliers on the platform. Please, can you see that? And
yes,
an
Doc.
average of 16 days time to contract. And they are selling this to suppliers by saying that they can get in excess of 48 million pounds of business through the platform, right? So it is a win-win for participants, be it the one who is posting their ad for a particular service to be provided, or the one who is posting their offer to provide that particular product or service. Now, moving on from place of purchase, we can talk about the new channel structures, some of which we have discussed in our previous sessions, including disintermediation, where e-marketers can now build their own platforms online to sell directly to customers, right? However, this can lead to channel conflict, which we will talk about in the next slide. Also, re-intermediation has taken place, where customers can now access the services of various suppliers or sellers through intermediary platforms that have been made possible as a result of introduction of the internet. So sellers can have various affiliate arrangements with different platforms that can facilitate access to their desired or target customer base to help them gain access to the products and services that the seller offers. And a number of these intermediaries have been mentioned in several of our sessions, including the price comparison sites, the aggregators, the online marketplaces, including the Tonatons and the Gigis, all of which are a direct product of the re-intermediation factor that has taken place as a result of online technology. We can also talk about counter mediation, where the supplier or the seller can benefit not just from disintermediation, but from re-intermediation by means of not just setting up platforms to sell directly to customers, but also setting up new intermediaries to also sell to customers, or partnering with these intermediaries to be able to sell to customers. And this is what we refer to as counter mediation. So the options for the e-marketer are limitless in terms of breaking away from the traditional middleman concept that tends to hike up the prices of various products and services, and at the same time to creating new intermediaries that make the buying process easier for their customers, to be able to make sure that they put themselves out there in the best possible light and also have the opportunity to gain additional revenue as a result of using these new channel structures. So if we are sellers and we have our own website where we sell our products, but we also set up a price comparison site that we own and can take out adverts on, and can be able to list other retailers who will be able to be put competitively against our own products and services, right? Which will help to communicate an air of reliability and integrity to our potential customers and current customers. We will do so to be able to achieve that benefit, because online technology makes that possible. Now, like I mentioned earlier, disintermediation brings about what we refer to as channel conflict. And it is as a result of the fact that previously, before the introduction of the internet, several sellers were working with intermediaries, like I said, who we traditionally called middlemen in the offline context. Now, with the introduction of disintermediation, a number of middlemen were kicked out of the sales process that involved connecting the seller to the buyer, such that the various commissions and markups that were added to the original cost of the item which ended up being borne by the buyer, were totally eliminated. Now, the intermediaries by this act lost the commissions that they were getting as a result of playing the middleman or the facilitator. And this led them to feel some type of disappointment and anger towards the sellers that they were previously working with, who had taken them out of the sales equation, right? And this ultimately led to certain threats in terms of distribution arrangements with existing partners, particularly those partners who had not completely severed ties, but were in direct competition with these intermediaries when it came to the sale of their products and service. And we see a typical example of this happening between e-commerce retailers as well as offline retailers, where retailers who were traditionally stocking their items in physical stores all of a sudden decide to start selling their items directly to customers online. Now, this creates direct conflict between they as online retailers and the physical stores in which they stock their products and services, which has led several retailers in these physical stores to take punitive measures against these sellers who were directly selling to customers online because they saw them as their direct competition. So some retailers like supermarkets in the US at the time when Estee Lauder and Clinique decided to start selling directly to customers online, started reducing the shelf space they gave to Estee Lauder and Clinique products. And at certain points, took them off the shelves completely and placed them at locations in the store where they were not in the direct view of customers for them to even be able to contemplate either purchasing them or otherwise. So these are some of the direct consequences of channel conflict. Another example of channel conflict is what we can observe with regard to the streaming wars. Prior to the introduction of COVID and restrictions in terms of movement that led to a spike in online streaming, Disney was not so particular about who had rights to show their content. In fact, you could watch Disney movies and Disney animations on a number of platforms until the streaming wars began and Disney decided to start their own online platform. And it created a direct channel conflict between themselves and the platforms that they had already given licenses to sell their items. Please, who has heard of this story that I'm talking about? Has anyone heard of it? Theo, did you hear about what happened to Disney during the streaming wars?
Okay, so actually, all I know about it is that they just decided to set up their own streaming channel, but
Good.
I actually didn't know what's it called? I know Marvel also sold their franchise to them as well.
Good.
But
Good.
I honestly don't know what came into play when they were, like, should I say the other companies were actually trying to probably sue them. I don't know if that's happened. But
Good.
I just know
right?
they decided to
Yes.
get their own
Good. So they set
own
up Disney
streaming.
Plus. Yes.
Yeah, Disney Plus.
And they wanted
yeah,
to
yeah.
show their content exclusively. But they
Yes,
forgot that
indeed.
they had sold the rights to some of their Disney movies and animations to other platforms to be showing.
Yeah.
So I remember there were some animations that were even showing on Netflix at that time. And because of the nature of the agreements and contracts that they signed, it was up to Disney to decide, okay, do we allow the contract to elapse so that these streamers will keep streaming our platform, our content online at the same time as we are streaming it ourselves on our own platform, or buy back the rights from them. And if I were an online platform like Netflix, and you had already signed a contract with me, which has not ended, to give me the rights to show a particular animation or number of animations, and then you want the rights back, what do you think I will do? Knowing that we are in the middle of streaming wars, what do you think I will do to you?
I'll definitely sue you.
I will sue you? Oh, no. Okay, think like a rational, utility-driven consumer.
I will take a lot of money from you.
I would take a lot of money.
I'll double the price.
Double or triple the price. Right? And I'm sure that is what Netflix did, because all of a sudden, almost all the Disney animation disappeared from Netflix. And I knew they had come to some sort of agreement or deal. Right? So exactly, I would charge you double or triple. So these are typical physical manifestations of the channel conflict that we are talking about. And these are all the direct consequences of online technology and how it has created new channel structures, particularly disintermediation, of which channel conflicts are a direct consequence. And then finally, we can talk about virtual organizations. And here we are basically talking about the fact that as a result of digital technologies, organizations can operate without clearly defined physical boundaries, particularly between different functions. So you can have an organization that is set up virtually, and the members of the accounts department are working from the UK, and the members of the marketing department are working here in Ghana, and the members of say, the IT department are somewhere in Russia or China, right? So by discussing this element or concept of the virtual organization, we are basically saying that as a result of digital and online technologies, processes can no longer be controlled by a single organizational hierarchy, because we have different people working from different places, performing different tasks at different points in time, depending on the time zone within which these different functions are in these different locations. You will have people working at different times on different aspects of the production process. So here we can say that the production processes are flexible, because different parties will be working on different aspects at different times, depending on the location in which they find themselves. We can also talk about the fact that parties involved in the production of a single product are geographically dispersed. Like I mentioned, we can have accounts and finance in the UK, and have marketing and sales in Ghana, and have IT somewhere in China, right? Because of the virtual nature of our operations. However, we need to bear in mind that for these disaggregated sections of the organization, and the dismembered and scattered hierarchy all over the place in different time zones and different locations and different countries, can only be achieved through coordination, which is heavily dependent on a reliable telecommunications and data network. Because if you cannot reliably communicate with them in real time, it will be very difficult for you to coordinate their activities and make sure that everyone is doing what they are supposed to do to contribute towards achieving the overall objective. Because regardless of the geographically dispersed nature of these various functions, right, and the scattered nature of the hierarchy, and people performing different elements and aspects of the production process in different time zones and locations, we need to make sure that everybody is working on schedule and on point in a synergistic manner towards achieving the ultimate goals of the organization. So the virtual organization is very plausible, and it's an ingenious business model only in the face of a reliable telecommunications and data network. So if you're in a context like Ghana, where we do not have that much of a very reliable telecommunications and data network, especially when it comes to internet technology, you would have to think twice about having a completely virtual organization. At least you may think about concentrating the key aspects of the organizational function in the location that you can be able to physically access and work on. And then the ones that you may not have to be able to access consistently in real time, you can decide to operate virtually. Or perhaps situate all functions physically in one location and obtain single staff with certain kinds of expertise that may not be readily available in your location, in other locations, to get them to work virtually, especially in the era of COVID, where we are still seeing a lot of travel restrictions that have been imposed by various governments in different locations. And with that, we've come to the end of the discussion on the place element, which culminates our discussion on the first three elements of the marketing mix and how online technology can be used to enhance them, including product, price, and place. In our next session, we will focus on the other remaining elements, including promotion, people, processes, and physical evidence. On that note, I'd like to ask, does anyone have any question, any contribution, or anything they need clarification on before we call it a day?
Okay, madam. So I wanted to ask, the place element, whether this one falls under it. You know, when Star Times came to Ghana and then they wanted to have media rights to the Premier League, and then they warned all the clubs not to film the matches and then show on their channels.
Yes,
would,
please.
Would you put that one under the place element?
They were streaming it online Wednesday.
Yes.
Yes.
Because there is Kotoko TV, there is Heart TV, and the rest.
Good. But they decided to do it online. I'm a little confused.
Yeah, so Star Times bought the right, as in like maybe you have DSTV where they have rights to the EPL.
Yes.
So when it comes to the Ghana Premier League, Star Times went into contract with GFA that were the only media houses, or they have the media rights to record the matches.
Yes. So was Star Times? Yes. Was Star Times streaming it themselves online?
Yeah, they were having that facility too.
Okay. Yes. So that will fall under place.
Okay.
So they are not just doing it on the digital TV. They are also doing it, streaming it live online, and they are doing it exclusively.
Yes.
Good.
But the clubs felt like they were major stakeholders in the game. So why shouldn't I, like Kotoko or has not been able to stream my matches when I'm the reason why you are here?
Good. So we can see that apart from the marketing angle, there was also another angle that was being played here when we look at the macro environment, right? In terms of certain political things that were happening, right? And then social, because from what you are saying, in their opinion, morally, because they are the clubs, they should have rights.
Yes.
Good. So we can see how the interplay of the changes in the macro environment were attempting to influence Star Times' marketing strategy. However, they were able to win because it seems the political people had their way.
Yeah.
They managed to sell the rights. So in this case, we can see that political powers can sometimes overshadow social and public opinion.
Okay.
So thank you, Samuel. That's a good example. Yes, it is. It is. All right. Anything else? Please, I can see in the chat that Reggie said he's taking all the ladies for lunch. So on that note, I'd like to say Happy International Women's Day to all the ladies in the house.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you too.
Thank you.
And please contact Reggie for the location of the lunch. Reggie, Reggie, are you there?
The junction was the location.
I thought he was doing his millennial things. Reggie, you were doing millennial things here. So Reggie, where is the lunch taking place? You're excited.
Run off.
So, Reggie, please, when you decide, let us know on the platform, and we'll try and show up in our numbers. So on that note, I'd like to wish you all, Junction Mall. Okay, ladies, in Junction Mall. So please, all roads lead to the Junction Mall. Reggie,
It's a trap, madam.
Or the gentlemen who want to offer moral support are also welcome. Clarify.
Madam, it's a trap.
Sister.
It's a trap. He wants us to come and spend.
Please give us some reassuring words.
Reggie, come back.
Okay, so on that note, happy Women's Day, happy holiday.
The ladies were in the class and they weren't contributing. The ladies.
Okay, so Reggie, what do you propose?
So me, I've shared the location. I'll be at the junction.
If they like, they should come. They like.
So once they come, they would have fun.
Definitely. I trust you, Reggie. I trust you. Okay. So on that note, I'd like to wish you all a blessed week ahead, a lovely holiday, happy International Women's Day. And please keep working on your e-marketing plan assignment to
Yes, madam.
around the corner.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We have two
Yes.
more sessions, and then the remainder of the sessions are for our presentations. So please finish hard, and
Yes,
then
madam.
let me know if you're having any challenges and how I can assist.
Okay, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Happy
All the
International
best.
Women's Day to you too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, ma'am.